everyone. Welcome to Lost in Science, where you're getting science into your ears. I'm Manisha, and today we have some riveting stories for you all. We have Chris, who will be talking to us about aphantasia.
Is that sort of the lack of a mind's eye?
Yeah, it's something to do with the mind and the imagination. When he first told me about it, I thought it was some sort of Disney movie. Wrong. And Claire, what do you got for us?
Well, I'm actually going to give a bit of an update on a disease that's been devastating our largest carnivorous marsupial in Australia, the Tasmanian devil facial tumour disease.
Oh.
So some new research has come out in the last week that has provided, I guess, a new avenue to hopefully save the population, which has been devastated over the last 10 years. How about you, Manisha?
I am actually going to talk about the meteor shower that we had.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't wait to hear about it then. On with the show.
If I say to you to picture something in your mind's eye, does that mean anything? Can you do that?
Yes.
Yes.
Think of a purple elephant. Go.
Well,
Like
could be anything. Just
imagine something.
Does it mean something to picture something in your mind's eye? Yeah. Well, for some people, it doesn't. Some people have a condition that's called aphantasia, spelled Aphantasia. And you may have seen this bit. It's been a bit on the in the news or on social medias. And this is a condition where people can't imagine images in your mind.
You're kidding.
They can't imagine imagining.
They can't. They can't imagine.
I can't imagine.
They
Period.
just can't imagine.
Well, they probably can't imagine imagining.
I just can't imagine.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was the term was only coined in last year by a neurologist, Adam Zeman from the University of Exeter. But he kind of first came across it in 2005 when he studied a man who had lost the ability to see things in his mind's eye after having some minor surgery. And this bloke, he could still recognise things. He could say they did a test where he could recognise faces. He could put names to them. He could even describe them as he was asked to. They said he could say that Tony Blair had blue eyes for some reason. Does he? I think so. But he couldn't picture them in his mind. So, they did quite a few tests of this. They had this one particular subject, and they did brain scans. So if they showed him a face, then the parts of the brain that are normally used for facial recognition would light up when he sees the face, and he could put a name to it, etc., like that. But if they just gave him a name, then those facial recognition parts didn't light up. But for normal people who aren't aphantasia persons, when you give them the name, then your facial recognition parts also light up because you see the face as well as the name. So if I were to say to you, Tony Blair, for argument's sake, you can probably picture Tony Blair, maybe.
Got it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Blue eyes. Unmistakable.
That's right. So this is in 2005 there was it was reported on. There was an article in the New York Times and everything. It was kind of a bit of a curiosity, but then they started to hear from people who'd never had this ability, who'd had aphantasia since birth, and this was kind of an unknown thing. And it was quite interesting because a lot of these people never knew that they had this particular condition. This one earlier patient, recognised it because he had previously been able to visualise things, and so he knew when he lost that ability. He was able to say, "Oh, it's not like it was before." Whereas the people who have been like that way since birth, they never know anything different. And it's been really interesting hearing them talk about what it's like, because they often say things like they thought everyone was just kind of, well, not joking, but talking in metaphors. So when you say, I can imagine a purple elephant, I can see myself walking down the beach, they just thought that was kind of, I would like to walk down the beach is what you're saying, not I can actually picture myself walking
That
down
is
the beach.
so hard to imagine not being able to do. Yeah. Imagine. That is a very difficult mind exercise.
It is. To me, it's that whole thing of being able to put yourself in someone's head and imagine what they're doing. Yeah.
Now I'm picturing myself trying to picture not being. This is not ending well.
But can you imagine being the other way? What are those people were like to discover this thing? Like one of them who wrote a big long post on Facebook said that it was like reading a newspaper article that says scientists discover man without a tail, and like you never knew people had tails, or that it's kind of the opposite of finding out that you have a superpower. It's finding that you lack an ability that everyone else has.
Yeah.
So maybe there's
no one told you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's kind of sad.
They were kind of telling you, but you just didn't understand. So this bloke, he described that, there has some other consequences as well. He can't remember things that have happened. So he has a good memory for facts, but if he's asked to describe what he did yesterday or what his childhood was like, he can't do it. He has to memorize a response to say, growing in Miami was a bit of a disappointment.
Poor Miami.
There's another person who wrote in after the report in the New York Times that said that he was shocked that his girlfriend can remember what someone was wearing a year ago. He can't believe that you could any way you could remember what someone looked like a year ago. So this is kind of interesting. It's to do with the way that our memories work. And this is, I suppose, another aspect of it. So with what they call our explicit memory, which is the memory where we consciously recall something, they often split that up into two types. There is the semantic memory and the episodic memory. So the semantic memory, that is your general knowledge of facts, meanings, concepts, those sort of things. Whereas episodic memory is the actual, generally autobiographical memory. It's the personal events and things you've experienced, including the emotions as well as the times and the places that these things have happened. So, for most people, these two things are very connected. So if you are asked to think of a dog, your semantic memory will be the thing that has all the descriptions of what a dog is like, the kind of the platonic ideal of what a dog is, but you'll probably picture an actual dog and your experience of a dog, the understanding of a dog is related to what you've seen of dogs as well as what you've been told about dogs, etc., like that. But with people with aphantasia, these things are separated. They don't have that personal memory of the dog. They just they can understand the concept of a dog, but they don't necessarily picture the dog and remember the experience of patting a dog or seeing a dog in their head.
That sounds very sad. Yeah,
there is a counterexample, because there is kind of a scale with this thing. There is also hyperphantasia, which is people who have extremely vivid imagery, and this Dr. Zeman, he has a test which he's created for it, which you used in his paper that he published last year. You can find this test if you Google aphantasia, if you can remember how to spell it. You can find this test on the BBC website. It's sort of interactive. And it's got questions like, it asks you, say, to think of a relative or a friend, someone whom you frequently see, but who is not in this room at the moment.
All right, yeah.
Yep. And consider carefully the picture that you see in your mind's eye. Now, how vividly can you see the exact contours of their face, their head, their shoulders and body? Can you see the contours? Mm-hmm. Yep. How clearly can you see the poses of their head, like the way they normally hold themselves?
Pretty well.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, yep. What about how they step, their walk, their pace, their carriage, as it says?
Sort of.
Yeah, you can see them walking.
It's getting a little bit blurrier.
Yeah. What about things like the colours of their clothes that they wear?
Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are different levels of this. So I can think we can verify in this test though that you're not aphantasia people. You're real normal people. Not that people with aphantasia aren't real. No, because actually the studies so far that they've done show that perhaps up to as many as 1 in 50 people have aphantasia or aphantasic, whatever you are. So it does show, I guess, how much there is this difference in the way we experience the world and how much people vary. And
that's intense.
If we have more than 50 listeners, I'm sure someone out there is going to have aphantasia, and we'd love to hear from you.
So, Manisha, there's been a bit of big news this week that scientists and researchers have found a potential new avenue of treatment to help the ever-dwindling population of Tasmanian devils.
Oh, good.
Yeah, from the devil facial tumour disease, which has been plaguing them for the last 20 years.
Ooh.
Yeah. Have you heard about the disease before?
I have heard about the disease. I'm sure a lot of people have.
I'm sure a lot of people have, yeah. And it's something that has got a lot of coverage. But there hasn't really been a really sort of major breakthrough in the research sort of to look at how we can protect our current sort of populations.
Yeah, right. So how to like stop the spread of the infection kind
Exactly.
of thing? Yeah, right.
Yeah. So because there has been a fair bit of media, I thought I'd maybe just give a little bit of a background to the disease. So bit of an introduction. So it was first noticed in the devil population in 1996. So it has been around for the last 20 years. But in the 10 years since 96, it pretty much, it massively ravaged the wild population of Tassie devils, like hugely affecting the population, with declines of around 85% in some of the populations and a lot of the northwest of Tasmania, mainly. Naturally, with population declines that were steep like this, a lot of research went into what the hell this awful disease was, how it was transmitted, just to get a bit of a handle on why this is happening at this time. So what researchers and scientists have found out about the disease since then has been, it's just been sort of one awful thing after the next, but sort of shedding a little bit of light onto what this disease is, what this cancer is. So the Tassie devil facial tumour disease is actually, it's highly contagious, and it's also clonally transmissible. So that means that it's spread among individual devils by when the devils have a social interaction, whenever they contact. So these tumours appear on their faces, and then normally if you ever see devils in the zoo or you might see them in the wild, they spend a lot of time fighting over their food. They are extremely noisy.
They're actually, really not violent, but
sort of violent.
Yeah, there's a lot of nipping and a lot of playing and that it's a big part of all of their behavior.
Yeah, so this, I guess, is pretty important because they do a lot of nipping and a lot of fighting, and this is one of the main reasons why this facial tumour spread through the population so quickly, because the devils were having so much interaction with each other, and the as soon as one devil bit another devil that had a facial tumour, it would get that tumour, and it would
because it's contagious.
Because it's contagious, exactly. Now, the devil facial tumour disease cells are also able to avoid host immune recognition, so they do this by downregulating something called the MHC, or the major histocompatibility complex. So the MHC is part of our genetic code. It helps us with our immunity. It's like the immunity that we inherited from our parents, and from our parents' parents. It's like it's written within our DNA, and it's a really important part of offering some protection. But this cancer actually downregulates that, so it makes the devils a bit more immune suppressed.
Yep.
And then once the devil facial tumour sets in, it you see metabolic wasting in the devils, so they get really skinny, they can't feed anymore.
Devils.
Oh, it's awful. And then it's also found that it affects organs. It can be really invasive. It can dissolve bones. It can invade the heart. It's just the nastiest piece of work that you'll ever come across.
You weren't kidding when you said it was just one bad thing after another.
Oh, just awful. Like, it's great that we have so much information now, but it's just
to discover these things as well would be heartbreaking, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And in terms of resistance, they found around 6 females who've had some sort of partial immunity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but nothing, no whole population that's immune to it. And because it is attacking, or it is involved in sort of suppressing the immune system. It means that most devils are really susceptible to it.
Yeah.
So the scientific community realized pretty early on that what they were coming up against was pretty evil. And, we need to think of new innovative ways to immunize the devils against this disease before we can start letting any devils back into the wild. So I guess there's been two sort of prongs of approach. So one prong is trying to find a way to immunize the devils, and the other prong is trying to keep populations of the devils safe. So there's been a whole lot of research and resources put into getting together devil populations for sort of insurance populations on the mainland and in Tassie as well, and in zoos and stuff. So this is sort of like the other prong approach where we're sort of trying to find out how to immunize the devils. This is where this new research comes in.
Oh, cool.
And it was just released in Nature Scientific Reports, and it details this avenue of therapy to protect our devils against the facial tumour disease. It actually uses the devils themselves and their natural antibodies to to help fight the disease. Now, these findings all hinge on the fact that there are certain antibodies that we produce that are naturally occurring that help fight tumours and have these what are called anti-tumour cytotoxic activities.
Yep.
And one of the main antibodies that's involved in this is something called immunoglobulin M. So it's the M version of the antibody immunoglobulin.
The M version, it's a good version.
Yeah, it's the M for Manisha. So currently there are actually therapies using this immunoglobulin M that have been shown to reduce neuroblastomas and melanoma in humans.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, so it's sort of currently out there in cancer research, but they're applying it to devils and the facial tumour.
Yep.
So in this new study, the researchers investigated first if there was any interaction between this immunoglobulin M and the devil facial tumour, and the possibility of developing therapies then using those antibodies. First, they compared antibodies found in Tasmanian devils with the tumour and antibodies in Tasmanian devils without the tumour. And they found that those animals that had more immunoglobulin M relative to another immunoglobulin, G, were less likely to have the devil facial tumour. So it's sort of like this ratio, this like...
M to G ratio.
Yeah, this M to G antibody ratio increases your chances of not either surviving or not getting this facial tumour.
Or being able to fight it off.
Or being able to fight it off, exactly. So it's pretty exciting news. It's sort of, it shows that by having these relatively higher immunoglobulin M antibodies, a devil has a higher chance of staying tumour-free.
Yeah, cool.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah. And so the researchers think the next step might be that they can develop these anti-tumour vaccines that could involve the antibodies. Or enhance the production of the devil's own natural antibodies.
Yep.
Or alternatively, direct treatment of the cancer with these immunoglobulin M could be a solution to help halt the disease. And this is actually a process called active immunotherapy, and it's becoming sort of more and more accepted in the treatment of human cancers. So it could be...
I was just about to ask if it's used in cancer treatments.
Yep. So it could be a really big first step to help fight extinction for the devils.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. That's really uplifting.
Across Australia on the Community Radio Network, you're listening to Lost in Science.
month, some of you, unfortunately not me, not Claire, but some of you may have caught a glimpse of a beautiful meteor shower. Overnight on the 5th, so early morning on the 6th of May, Eta Aquarid is one of the most spectacular meteor showers viewed in the Southern Hemisphere. It's actually one of two showers, so in case you missed it, keep your ears out, or, well, your eyes out, for the Orionids, which take place around October. Or, well, Eta Aquarid, it returns every year, so it'll come back in April or May of next year.
Really? So it happens around the same time every year as well?
Yeah, it's an annual, so these are a pair of annual meteor showers. So if you've missed it this year, you're in, you can catch it next year.
Just wait another 11 months and it'll be...
Or just wait until October again. For its pair. Whatever. Right. All right, so before I go on, I just wanted to get some terms in order because I was very confused as I was researching this. So follow me if you can. A meteoroid is a small particle from a comet or asteroid orbiting the sun. When the meteoroid enters the Earth's atmosphere and vaporizes, it becomes a meteor.
All right, so up until then, it isn't a meteor.
No, it's a meteoroid. Until it enters the Earth's atmosphere, then it's a meteor. And then meteors are what we call shooting stars. And if the meteoroid passes through the atmosphere, it becomes a meteor, and then the meteor doesn't completely vaporize and actually lands on Earth, that's a meteorite.
Right.
Yes. So different terms depending on where they are in relation to the Earth. And then also comets and asteroids. They're both celestial bodies that orbit around the sun. Yep. And asteroids are made out of metals and rocky materials, while comets are made out of ice and dust. When a comet comes near the sun, the gas and ice melt or streak, and it contributes to the tail. So an easy way to tell the two apart is that an asteroid doesn't have a tail while a comet does. Cool. Good?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Are we all on this space page?
I'm on.
we got this. Back to Eta Aquarid. Eta Aquarid and the Orionids are the result of Earth's orbit going through the tail of Halley's Comet. I'm sure most, if not all of our listeners have heard of Halley's Comet, which is arguably the most famous comet. The meteoroids, in
meteoroids still in the sky,
still out of the atmosphere.
Got it.
In Eta Aquarid and the Orionids are the icy debris of Halley's Comet. These meteoroids are some of the fastest, so these meteors are some of the fastest of any shower, and they travel almost 239,000 kilometers an hour. Eta Aquarid...
It's real fast.
It's real fast. Whew. Yep, like the Flash.
The original Flash. Flash in real life.
Yep, that's it. That's where the inspiration comes from. Eta Aquarid gets its name from its apparent radiant point in the constellation Aquarius, near one of its brightest stars, Eta Aquarii. A radiant is the spot where the meteor appears to originate from. And that means that, well, the meteor doesn't actually originate from the constellation, but from our vantage point on Earth, it seems to. For the Orionids, the radiant is Orion. Again, you can see the matches in the name. And for those of you who did observe Eta Aquarid this year, you would have seen about 30 to 60 meteors per hour, which is a lot. That would have been a beautiful shower.
It would have been a very beautiful sight.
Yeah. So, again, remember for October or next April to find a nice spot out of the city light pollution to view it.
Is there a best place in Australia to view these showers?
No, it's actually really brilliant in the Southern Hemisphere in general. The Eta Aquarid is, at least. And so it's so if you can find a place that's just not very obscured by light pollution, you'll be pretty good. Okay, so I mentioned that the showers are a result of the famous Halley's Comet. Records of Halley's Comet date all the way back to 239 BC, when the comet was recorded in Chinese chronicles. And it reoccurs every 75 years. So that's how long it takes for Halley's Comet to orbit around the sun once. The last time it was visible was in 1986, and is predicted to return in 2061.
So we got a bit of a time.
Yeah. So
bit of time to wait for Halley's Comet back here.
Yeah. It was last year sooner than it'll be next year. So That's sad. The Eta Aquarid showers have actually been going on for centuries, but was described by astronomers only in the late 1800s. A few astronomers contributed to the description with some key findings and observations. First, an American astronomer named Hubert Anson Newton discovered records of a reoccurring meteor shower. These showers were all described around the same time of the year, and they dated all the way back to the year 401. So Newton discovered that in past logs and observations there was a pattern, and he suggested that this was actually a reoccurring meteor shower, so it was the same one that we were observing. Then, in 1870, G.L. Tupman, a member of the Italian Meteoric Association, discovered the shower that Newton had described, and then he confirmed it again the following year. So he confirmed that it is a reoccurring shower. Finally, in 1876, a British astronomer, Alexander Stewart Herschel, was the one to determine that this meteor shower was actually a result of Halley's Comet, because he used a series of mathematical calculations to track the comet. Halley's Comet was closest to the Earth in early May, and its radiant was also in Aquarius, which aligned well with the other research that was described. But even after it was described, new accounts of the shower were infrequent, because this shower is, as I mentioned before, most spectacular in the Southern Hemisphere. And there at the time were fewer meteorologists in the Southern Hemisphere that were connected to the bigger meteorological associations. I did try to search for some accounts from the Southern Hemisphere, but I didn't actually come across any. Instead, the Orionids, which are more visible in the Northern Hemisphere, have a lot more historical accounts. But anyways, even though the Orionids are more visible in the Northern Hemisphere, we still have a decent vantage point from the Southern Hemisphere. So I really urge you to keep an eye out for the shower in October. And now that you know what you're looking at, you can anticipate a beautiful show and a wonderful astronomical display, which should tide us over until Halley's Comet returns.
Get your picnic rugs out and start looking at the stars.
Oh yeah, it would be so lovely.
So lovely.
Camping.
That's all we've got time for on this episode of Lost in Science. Thanks for tuning in and joining us. Lost in Science is recorded at the studios of 3CR in Melbourne and broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network with the financial assistance of the Community Broadcasting Foundation. If you want to talk back to us, you can get in touch. We have a Gmail account, lostinsci@gmail. You can also find us on Twitter and on the Facebook. And if that's not enough Lost in Science for you, you can always tune in again next week, where the team will once again get Lost in Science!
Thanks for listening to a 3CR podcast. 3CR is an independent community radio station based in Melbourne, Australia. We need your financial support to keep going. Go to www.3cr.org.au for more information and to donate online.